The United States should secure foreign markets for the purpose of trading and keeping a defense force that is capable of defending the trade routes. Imperialism helps because when we expand, there are more routes that we would have the need to protect them. The trade route along the Panama Canal is a great example. We need to make sure that those trade markets are secure so we can exchange goods. The U.S. dug the Panama Canal for trade and less travel time.
If we were to expand our nation, we would have a harder time protecting our land. We have a strong military, but not strong enough to protect multiple nations overseas. For example, we do not have a military large enough to protect the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico. With more trade routes needing help, we would be in more danger if our military were to be spread throughout the world rather than just in one nation.
If we were to expand and help the trade routes, we would be helping the lesser people who trade at the markets. If we help enough, then we might be able to gather enough supplies that would strengthen our military.
If we begin to try to strengthen our nation by gathering supplies and build a stronger military, it can take us a while to do that. While we are trying to build a stronger nation, that makes us vulnerable, and it is more likely that we will be attacked, and then we will have a much harder time defending ourselves.
That is a what-if question, not a fact. There isn't statistics that say if we gather materials to strengthen, then we will get attacked and perhaps die.
It's always a good idea to think about what-if questions. It's better be safe than sorry. We have enemies that are in other countries, and if they knew we were vulnerable, they would most likely attack. Imperialism has its positive aspects, but in the long run, when greed takes over the reason for helping another nation, it leads to destruction of a nation. And generations to come are severely impacted by the actions of few. A great example of this is the annexation of Hawaii, when we took over their queen and made them part of our nation.
How would we become greedy by helping smaller nations? The decision to annex Hawaii might have been a little bit greedy, but overall we helped while we were expanding. The growing imperial power of other nations spurred the U.S. We want to compete with other nations for supremacy. It is a matter of the U.S. pride and its prestige. We want additional territory for more U.S. Navy and Army bases. The U.S. wants to be defended and wants to expand. We had war with many countries to gain their independence and their territory. That is what happened to the Spanish-American War. We wanted supremacy, and after the war we got the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico, which helped us expand.
With all the nations we already have, we could just build Navy bases there. U.S. is a vast nation, and there's plenty of natural resources and plenty of markets for goods. It does not make sense for us to fight for the Philippines because it's all the way by China. It would have been better to just put a Navy base there instead of completely taking it over.
They wouldn't have let us put a Navy base there if we weren't in control of them.
Did we ever ask them? No! Imperialism goes against the beliefs of Christianity, and most people were Christian at the time. Forcing people to follow suit is going against their religion. It is also undemocratic. Democrats vote on their rights, and if people are forced to do stuff without a say in it, then we are not a democracy. A good example for this is the Boxer Rebellion in China. We went against their traditions, and they started a rebellion.
The U.S. believes in cultural superiority, such as race, values, and religion. Our goal is to civilize the world, not to force people.
By civilizing the world, we end up forcing people, which is something we don't want to do.
What we could do for other nations will not only help them, but it would help us, the United States, as well. When we conquered the Philippines, we gained new opportunities. With the Philippines, the U.S. had access to raw materials and other products that the U.S. couldn't produce. With all the new nations and their products, the U.S. economy will have a big boost.
Obtaining valuable natural resources became a bone of contention between the developed countries, resulting in the political foul play. Even though we conquered the Philippines, they were probably very upset with us taking all of their valuable resources, and after a while, they would have most likely fought back.
But they didn't. These are all just what-if scenarios. Imperialism brought increase in productivity, which means the need for new markets to expand into. The Philippines gained new trading markets because of imperialism.
Most traditional culture and languages were simply wiped away. New religions were forced upon, and native belief was discredited. Many Asians and Africans were shipped to America and England against their will as plantation slave labor. After we took over the Queen of Hawaii, the Hawaiians were now a part of the U.S., so most of their religion and native culture was not preserved. But since it is now a tourist attraction, they have tried to incorporate the native culture.
Even though we forced them to do something, in the long run, we were just trying to help our nation as well as theirs.
We could have helped our nation and their nation in a more civil way. I believe the way that we went about some things were not a very good way to get results.